So welcome back to the Better Contractor, but one of the pieces of equipment that almost everybody is going to deal with is your vehicle, your truck, or the company truck. So we got a beautiful truck right here behind us, and Keith's a CDL operator driver. So Keith, just tell me some of the things that you'd want to inspect on this truck before you even took it out for the morning.
The first thing I'd look at is I'd be going through doing an inspection on checking all the fluids, tire pressures, tire wear, tread depth, doing a walk around, checking all the lights, making sure everything's working.
So is that what you do, a 360 walk usually?
Do a 360 walk around it, just to make sure somebody hasn't laid something behind you, or you know, just something quit working on it and you didn't know it.
And if you got somebody with you, they can help with the blinkers and let you know that the lights are all working. Okay. And this is a very nice diesel truck. You know, some people can get by with a half-ton truck. Why would you think we'd need to go all the way to 5,500, or what? Something in between?
Well, we're pulling a lot heavier loads. We're pulling with the gooseneck trailers. You know, the bigger the trucks you got, the heavier you can haul, the better it is on the truck. The trucks will last longer. You can't use a 1,500 or a half-ton, or 1,500 or a 3/4 ton pickup to pull these 14,000-pound cats and stuff around with.
Yeah. That makes sense. Won't last very long.
No, you ain't gonna stop it very good.
It's got awesome big mirrors on it. Be able to see around the trailer. And I already checked inside. They got a 5-pound fire extinguisher in there. They got a safety can with all their safety equipment in there. It's a very well done truck. Nice setup. Let's go ahead and move back just to the bed of the truck and talk about a couple things there. But really, this is awesome. I don't know if every contractor would do this, but what's one of the reasons to have an air compressor on the rig?
Oh, you can air up tires on the job site, but the main thing is blowing your equipment out. You can blow out air filters, you know, debris off of equipment, radiators.
Yeah, that's super nice having a Honda right there on board. And then what's that? Is that a toolbox right there in the center, or what's that?
That's a toolbox combination bulk tank for bulk fuel for your equipment.
For filling up the cat or whatever, or the skidster. Okay. And then up on top, what's that?
You got your beacon light up here.
Strobe
your
up there?
Strobes.
Awesome. Then set up with a cooler to keep everybody hydrated. Got your cones.
Cones for parking along the roadways.
Are you guys in the habit of putting cones out sometimes, or
always?
Every time?
Anytime you're working on near a roadway, or even in a parking lot. Cones and men working signs.
Yep, I seen men working signs back behind here and probe. That's awesome. It's a beautiful truck, set up very nice with all the extra toolboxes. Got an extra toolbox on that side and this side. Well, let's slip on back and check out the trailer.
All right.
All right, so now we're back here by the trailer. So once we got it hooked up to the truck, well, how do you actually hook it up to the truck here?
Well, you wanna use a spotter, but when you get it all lowered onto the trailer, after you back under the ball, lower the trailer down onto the truck, you wanna make sure your hitch is locked in place, your safety chains are hooked up, your emergency brake cable's hooked up, your trailer lights are plugged in, and go from there doing an inspection as far as checking lights.
And that's where a spotter or somebody I could help you and make sure they're blinking and working back there.
From in the cab, you'd want to bump check your brakes with your brake controller. Just make sure your trailer brakes are active.
You can almost hear them activate, right?
You can, yeah, if there's not a lot of noise.
Yeah. All right. And then really, this is a pretty standard, I'd say, gooseneck trailer. Pretty nice. They got a little bit of a step there you can get up on. It's quite a bit of turning to get those ramps down, and I think they're spring-loaded ramps, right? When you pull that pin, they'll pop up.
They are. And if you're going to unhook this, you want to make sure you're on stable, solid ground.
Have your gloves on.
Have your gloves on. And
gotcha. And this one has a recovery winch up front that could help pull something up. If it was, it has some spare tires. That's kind of nice. You kind of got just chains and boomers here, but you just unloaded some stuff, right?
Yep, we did.
But kind of tell me a little bit how you would secure a load on this type trailer.
Well, using these binders, you want to make sure no matter whether it's the chains or the binders, you want to keep everything within inside this rub rail.
Okay.
You know, nothing can be on the outside of this. Most of your equipment, you're going to have 4 points of contact. So it's going to have 4 chains, four hook points, 4 boomers.
On one cat would have 2 on the front and 2 on the back?
Rear.
Okay.
You want to make sure your deck surface is cleaned off. I mean, we got some debris up here that's fell off of it from unloading the machine. But before you leave or load again, you want to make sure you sweep that deck plate off.
Yeah, that's good. Then keep kind of inspect this too, kind of inspect the boards, because you can get broken boards in time, and like you say, some rot could even set in. They try to maintain them very well, but got a little bit of, you know, sometimes grease and dirt and stuff, like you say, but Awesome. This is actually a good idea for almost any contractor. They keep their wheel chocks right here, easy to access, so they can put them out anytime they're loading or unloading. And then they've even got a box right here that you can open up from this side. Got a torque wrench, some air tools, air chuck and stuff in there, just to be able to make absolutely sure that their tires and wheels are in as best shape as possible. Just really helps with the inspection, I guess.
It does.
Yeah.
Yep. Makes things a little quicker.
It's a pretty nice trailer, it really is. And then this one has the flip down ramps. You'd also want to wear your gloves when you're flipping down them ramps. They're kind of heavy too.
They are. You know, use the right body positioning when you're doing it.
Yep, and then making sure the mud flaps and stuff are in place so we don't throw rocks on others, and like you said, cleaning them off. Any tricks of the trade? You know, it's more for like backing or where to choose a spot, because I imagine it's hard to find a spot sometimes.
It is,
to unload.
and the best thing to do is, if you have access, is utilize a spotter. These are, you know, they're long trucks. They're difficult to back into places. Use a spotter, and you know, if you have to, get out and look it over before you attempt to just back in there.
And I've seen a few of you guys do a drive-by first when they drive by the site location, and then drive by and see if there's a better spot or a better approach, or yeah. And then kind of that driving defensively. If there's a way to not have to back up, try to choose a spot where you can pull through and never have to back up at all. And I imagine the truck has a backup beeper.
Oh, the truck's got a backup beeper for sure.
Cat has a backup beeper. Anything else you can think? Any lessons learned? You know, maneuvering such a big trailer and truck. What are we talking? 40, 45 feet?
45 feet. Make sure you turn wide.
Turn wide. Yep. Caught a few curbs probably, I imagine.
Yep. Very easily curb it. Drop the axle off in the ditch.
Then I was talking to somebody the other day just about if you have a load like a skid steer right there, try not to turn so sharp, especially on roads, just because you're making those tires like chatter, because it can almost turn inside of the radius of the truck, right, or the gooseneck.
Yeah, you could, but you're taking the chance of cracking a wheel, breaking a wheel off, popping the tire off the rim. Yeah, you want to try to make the widest turn as possible.
Yeah. Then on these trailers, they got oil right in the hub.
They do.
And you got a sight glass right there. You can kind of see it and make sure that's at the right spot, because it can leak.
As part of the inspection, you want to check your hub oil, but anytime before you're going to go on a trip, you know, check your air pressure. Dan brought up the torque wrench.
Yeah.
You know, you want to check your wheels and torque them to the right spec. Make sure they're all tight.
And you'd have to look up if they're Dexter axles. You'd have to look up and see what size they are for sure, whether it was 210 pounds or what have you. But just make sure they're torqued right, because if they get unevenly torqued, I've seen some get loose and wallered out pretty bad. So
they will, and you will lose one going down the road.
Yeah. So anyway, no matter what size truck or size trailer you're using, try to make sure that it's inspected and maintained well. It's very important, because half the time it's getting the equipment to the job that's making us money, keeping us rolling, keeping us working every day. So just be the better contractor.